What up? What up? I got a cool little presentation for you guys today. Um, I just bought this iPad um, and figured out that I can use the pencil to do screen annotations. So I'm pretty pumped to try this out. Um, Today we're going to be talking about how to get high ticket clients or really how to filter your prospects so that you're attracting high caliber prospects that don't look for aren't concerned as much with cost as much as they are with value and the result that you can actually produce. Right? We've all been there where we've brought in we've especially in a high ticket scenario, right? We're booking calls. So because we're booking calls, unless we have a process of filtering out those people, we're going to start bringing in people that are really going to not fit the mold of the values that the company has, that your brand has, and will continuously be a headache throughout your business, even if they actually become a client, right? Let's see. Okay, cool. So we're going to be talking about that formula today and how you can use this process, this formula, to actually vet your prospects before they even book a strategy session, right? Because ultimately, when we have people book a strategy session, we want them to have money, of course, right? But also that they're a go-getter, they're willing to put in the work, they listen actively, they're a contributing member of what we're trying to do, right? We're not necessarily trying to work with everybody. We want the best clients in our business that aren't going to balk at cost. And there's a couple things that you need to consider before getting those out there, right? Getting that advertisement, getting that campaign out there. And even if your campaigns are currently running, you're currently running advertisements to your funnel, to your marketing campaign. You need to have this formula in place. And this is going to give you a step-by-step, basically, tutorial or something that you can do to implement this process into your business right away. Okay, so let's move over to this guy. Perfect. All right, so the first thing, and really always the most important thing, is the audience, right? Number one is our audience. And sorry for the bad handwriting as well. This is pretty much what my handwriting looks like anyway. Okay, so we need to identify the audience. We need to get very clear on the audience. This is easily the number one thing to focus, right? We want to be able to have a good idea of who they are, right? We need to know what their demographic is as far as their age, whether they're married or not. Those kind of concepts come into play down the road. It gives you basically a 30,000 foot view. And this is nothing new, right? Is the customer avatar. So we need to know the who, but we also need to know the language that they use, because ultimately the thing that most marketers get caught up in is the knowledge overwhelm. There's another word for it, but knowledge overwhelm, where you just know so much about your product and service and what you do and what you're really great at, that you look at those beginner terms a little differently. You don't use them as much because you're so educated on what it is that you do. But because we do that and get that in that knowledge overwhelm area, we actually scare people away. I've been doing this on sales calls in the past, where I hop on and I feel like I need to present so much value to my prospect that they ultimately know that I'm a force to be reckoned with, somebody that can help them. but also so that they will do business with me. They're like, oh my God, this guy knows everything that he's talking about. Why wouldn't I go with him? That was kind of my mindset. But as I'm going back and watching my sales videos, because I record my sales calls, is I'm finding that I'm overwhelming people and not even actually getting to the core of what it is that they need, what the result that they want, right? So we'll go ahead and put that as well. So the result. Number 2 is the problem. Okay. So the problem that person faces. When it comes to filtering, because we've filtered the audience by specifying their demographic, identifying how they actually speak. And I'm talking about the people that you want to help the most. Let's see, the most, the fastest, and least resistance. Okay, there's supposed to be a C in there, but the most, the fastest, and with the least amount of resistance. Okay, when we're identifying and filtering for our audience with the who, the language, and the result that they want, we need to keep that in mind. Who can we help the most, the fastest, and with the least amount of resistance? Okay, that's going to get you a lot more clear on who you're actually talking to, and so you can actually develop a message that's compelling. Okay, then the problem. When it comes to the problem, because we've identified that audience, we know what that burning fire desire is in their life currently. We can identify what's going on in their life in the moment. And this is really in regards to the lead magnet, right? Because the lead magnet is what captures the prospect. It gets them, let's see, I can't write and talk at the same time. The lead magnet is what captures them as a lead so that we can follow up with them, so we can ascend them up the value ladder, build a connection, build that trust. Okay. But we have to identify what the one problem is. A lot of times we think we're solving a lot of problems, but as far as a lead magnet is concerned, there's one problem that your prospect is trying to solve. So based on the audience that you've identified, and doing your research and kind of figuring out, and the way to do this is really by going into groups and forums and starting conversations, but also reading current conversations of what people consistently are struggling with, right? It's not how to run Facebook ads, but it might be how to do custom audiences. That's one thing that might change somebody's overall ad performance. So if you can change that one thing that might fix their overall ad performance, then you've instantly established that rapport with somebody, built that authority status with them, and then it makes more sense to continue to bring them into other upsells and such. Okay, but we need to identify what that core lead magnet is that's actually going to get them excited about what you have to offer. Okay, now number 3 is going to be the message. Sorry. The message. Okay. This part is really important because it's what allows you to do any of the selling. When it comes to the message, especially within your marketing campaign, because we know the audience and the problem that they're having, we can lead them down a path that gets them to the result that they want, right? They're currently here, but they want to be here at the result. And so on that path, there are, core steps that someone would have to take, main steps that person would have to take. Okay. In this process, though, however, we've got 75% is getting them to accept your marketing thesis, right? Which is this core thing right here. So the marketing thesis is, in my marketing thesis is, behavioral mechanics helps people get high ticket clients on automation, within automation, excuse me. So I need to get them to believe this, but in that process, I'm overcoming limiting beliefs, things that are holding them back, things that they're currently struggling with. And then I can present my offer. So that's the O is for offer. The least amount of resistance. This is the piece I think I struggle with most. I can't see your name here. Oh, Lori. What's up, Lori? So then the last 25% is your offer. Okay. But you need to develop the message in a way that is communicating with the audience that you've identified in the beginning. Right. And when it comes to the audience, especially when we're talking about high ticket, we're obviously going after people that have money. So, and what's the income bracket? If they make 100 grand or more, 500 grand or more, a million or more, right? They're different types of people. So they need to be talked to differently. Right. So then number 4 is the lead magnet itself. So I'll just start putting letters instead of full words because it takes forever to write this. So the lead magnet. Okay. The lead magnet, there's a couple different ways of doing your lead magnet. There's the PDFs, you got checklists, you can do a webinar. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to give enough value. So the webinar registration is going to be your best bet. But as far as running cold campaigns to get that customer in your pipeline and then ascending them into maybe a webinar, having a lead magnet that is either like a video 3-part video series or a PDF or a checklist or a worksheet that solves that one problem that we've already identified, right? Oh, so the problem. Okay. So the lead magnet is solving that problem through a series of steps. Then we've got our system. So that system needs to logically bring someone through a process of opting in, but also consuming as much of your campaign message as possible. And there's different like tracking mechanisms that allow you to see where people are falling off. Obviously, your ClickFunnels or whatever software you're using for your funnel itself is going to be tracking a lot of that data. I really recommend conversionfly.com, Todd Brown's analytics software, super awesome. But with that system, you can start to dissect where people are falling off so you can optimize, right? But also putting people into segments, which is number 6. And this might be the most important after you've done the audience research and the marketplace research, because you're putting people into pools. Now, the segmentation can be for ads and email, and I suggest both, right? So in the ad segmentation, you're able to put people in different buckets of people and market to them differently based on that information. And then same with email, right? Most of the autoresponders today have that feature where you can tag people and tag them based on whether they clicked or opened an email and put them into different sequences. And that piece is important because you want to follow up with people in good timing, right? You don't want to be marketing something that they've already purchased, so on and so forth. Okay. Dang it. This isn't as easy as I thought it would be. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Got it. Okay. Now, okay. So just to recap, we need to identify the audience, get really super clear on who that is, what the problem it is that they're having, that one problem, solve it with by creating a lead magnet around that, and then developing the message. So understanding how to correctly communicate with them, which is this process here. This is your campaign path is what I'm trying to say. Okay. And then we develop the lead magnet that solves that one problem by doing either a PDF or a checklist, or you could even do that lead magnet by having them opt in to see what's on the sales page, which is your sales message that allows you to get them to consume as much of that campaign message as possible, and then ask them to schedule a call. I recommend the webinars. Okay. The same process here can be followed in webinars. And then the system, developing a system that interacts with that person and brings them more value. Just because they watch the webinar, you might want to follow up with them with other video content that goes over the facts, that goes over the maybe your best case studies, goes over how things work on the back end of your business, and then what to expect. And then it's even as after someone has booked that call, getting them to accomplish a few steps before hopping on the calls, things that are mandatory, right? We want people that are taking action, right? And the nice thing about webinars is it allows us to time when it is that we can actually submit the offer, post the offer so that they can click. We don't want them clicking over to the offer before we've even allowed them to watch the whole campaign and really understand what it is that we do and how we can help them and what to expect on the call, right? We're pre-framing them along that path. Okay. So let's see. Cool. Well, that's it. This is the campaign formula. It's 6 steps. If you follow these 6 steps and you optimize these 6 steps in the formula, your conversions for your high ticket clients will be more of the people that you actually want to work with, that have money, that aren't going to be a hassle to work with in the future, right? Because we can set those expectations up front, and we can deliver enough value to where they are convinced that we actually can help them, given that we can. Okay, so if you go to prestigemediamarketing.com, you can find behavioral mechanics. Everything that I do here operates on behavioral mechanics. Behavioral mechanics is based on the behavior of our prospects in our industry. We can develop the mechanics that allow that prospect to get the result, right? And only based on the behavior. And behavior is really based on data. Okay, so behavioral mechanics, that's at prestigemediamarketing.com. You can go through that, schedule a call with me. What we're going to do is hop on and see how behavioral mechanics can actually be implemented into your system. This 6-step formula essentially can be implemented into your system and your business to then bring in more high ticket clients, more quality high ticket clients. Okay, so if you like this video, make sure to like and join the Facebook group at Campaigns for Coaches on Facebook. And every Friday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I go live to talk about all of this stuff, behavioral mechanics, and how that can be used to bring in more high ticket clients. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next Friday.